I'm going to start this off easy. I got some tough ones. I apologize in advance. But I'll warm us up with a nice, simple one. You have a chance to just download a language into your brain right away. Which one are you going to go with? Bruno.
Thank you, Wes. When we made eye contact, I knew it was getting this over. They tell you sometimes you should actually make eye contact, because then that means you want the question, and then the person won't ask you the question. Did not work out this time. Which I think I would have to go for a hard one, because that's just something that otherwise I'm never going to learn. So I'm just gonna go with the conventional Mandarin answer. I think that's the clear one that takes the most number of hours to learn. It's probably the most useful. Purely from a professional perspective, I could become instantly more marketable just by knowing Mandarin. So yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward to me. Other languages would just be, just sort of for kicks, and that's it. So I am pretty happy with my social languages. So I'm just going to go for maximizing my professional development, and I would just download Mandarin right here. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you for a very practical answer. All right, now I'm going to get into a little bit of a tougher one. Which do you think is better for a society, a diversity of languages or a common shared language? Erin.
Yeah.
Because I am the actual expert on languages and the use of them, lexiphonically speaking. I think that there should be a common language, one common language, because people are so diverse and eclectic that you don't need language necessarily to show your diversity, to show your differences. However, a lot of times people who are different, they don't really get a chance to appreciate or respect the differences because they can't communicate with one another. They can't understand others' perspective. However, if there was one common language, everyone could share the differences, how cool it is to do things one way as opposed to another way, and everything else being different, language would be a perfect thing to have in common. Because without that, you would think someone is being humble. They may be actually lexiphonically speaking at the time, which would change the context of their message. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop.
I have some Korean in-laws. A lot of times when we're hanging out, they're speaking a language I understand about 5% of. I have certain feelings regarding that situation. I'm curious to hear from somebody else when you think it's appropriate to use a foreign language in a public or social setting. Sure. I would love to hear what you have to say this thing.
This actually speaks to some experiences of mine. I spent a semester living in Denmark, and I'd be going out with friends, going out with guys, and we'd be talking to Danish girls. And it was always a little bit suspect when the Danish girls would switch from speaking English to us and then Danish to each other. And then we're wondering, what are they saying about us? Because they could be talking bad things about us, and we would have no idea. And I would do the same exact thing if I were in their position. I've actually wished that I had that ability, that if you imagine that with every friend you have a unique language that you share and no one else does, so you could converse in public and no one could overhear you. And I've forgotten the gist of your question. That was related.
Oh, is there a time when it's appropriate?
Is there a time when it's appropriate? I think it's appropriate in public settings when it's a little bit quieter. It can actually be less distracting. Whereas when you hear someone speaking, especially if they're speaking on the phone, you're trying to piece together their conversation unconsciously. No, it's actually a documented thing that it's more distracting. Whereas if I hear someone speaking language I don't understand at all, then it's just background noise to me. And they could be, no matter what they're talking about, I'm not really going to care. It's just going to be some noise. So I think it's generally appropriate, but if you're in a more social setting, especially with strangers or people that you're talking to right next to you, then it could be a little bit more upsetting and weird.
Thank you. Let's imagine you're being dropped on a planet with aliens that, unlike the movies, they don't speak English. How would you attempt to communicate with them? All right, Sarah. I was going to call her a new guest, but you did it, the diversion. See, it worked for you. It doesn't always work. Bruno's not good.
Let's go, Sarah. Thank you. Alright, if I was dropped onto a different planet, or there were aliens and we're speaking different languages, I would mime things. I've been asked if I'm Italian because I talk with my hands so much. So I would just try to mimic everything that I wanted, like water. You know, there's a lot of universal signs of language, like the universal sign of choking. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they would be able to understand some of the messages, like phone call maybe. Phone me home. Yeah, I would mime things. Thank you.
I promised you great questions. I'm glad I could deliver. I can throw one more out there, I guess, if we need to.
Go for it. Yeah.
We know that not all communication is verbal. There's this thing called body language. Just curious if anybody would like to share some of their favorite ways to use body language or interesting things that they've seen in their experiences. Tia?
Thank you. So, do I use it, or how do I use it?
How do you use it? How have you seen it used? What do you think is some effective things you've seen or interesting?
Well, maybe not being a mime, but using my body, my hands to emphasize or get a point across, to direct attention and so forth. That could be body language. Obviously, there's a lot of body language that comes just from our face. I'm probably really good at that one. Throwing looks, not in a mean way, because you all know that I'm a very nice person. But sometimes, just have that face. And my favorite would probably be, kind of tilt my head to the side. What? What does that mean? Are they serious? According to this situation, and the person with me probably knows which one I'm trying to get across in that moment. But most times it's, really? Of course, body language with the person that you love or you like, and I might get close, do the little bump, things like this to show affection, let her know that like my...
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let her know that I like her, I care about her, I'm showing affection, maybe I care about something in the moment, I'm support, it can show support, it can show so many other things. I think that body language is equally, if not just as important as verbal language. Because we can say something but have a totally different face or just that stance of like this. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But my body is saying something totally different. We've had Kyle share about the naughty bits. Remember, and he spoke about different stances that can relay a different message. And then also one that I've actually been really cognizant of recently is when I'm listening to someone or they're listening to me, and is their chair actually facing me? Have they turned their body towards me? So body language is extremely important and can get a message across even when you don't think that you're relaying a message. Thank you.
I'd like to turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Etienne.